Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Historical symbols of hate and fear will soon be criminalised when new legislation is introduced. The state government has announced the display of Nazi symbols will be banned other than for educational purposes.
Representing one of the darkest chapters in human history, Nazi symbols are set to be stamped out of Tasmania's future.
Seeing these symbols is very distressing.
Soon, the display and sale of Nazi material will be criminalised in the island state, which has received strong support from Hobart's Hebrew congregation.
We view these Nazi symbols as not only just a threat to the Jewish community, but just for all minorities in Tasmania.
I think everybody appreciates that any symbols that are used for hate and fear shouldn't be part of our public discourse.
A number of incidents in Tasmania are pushing the changes. One notorious example came in 2019 when a Launceston auction house sold dozens of Nazi items, including this SS ring selling for $800 to a man wearing white supremacy clothing.
It's disgusting that there are people that are profiting off these symbols, and it's an insult to the Australian diggers who fought against the Nazi regime. And we welcome legislation that will prohibit the trade into these items.
Today's announcement comes within just 24 hours of a Melbourne-based online auction house putting a price tag on similar divisive memorabilia. Almost 60 items are being auctioned off, including a Third Reich cake fork, marked bowls and books, angering Victoria's Jewish community.
This is obscene. Even the pursuit of profits should have its moral limits, and evil shouldn't have a price tag. We have to close the lid on this sinister trade.
Community groups will work in partnership with the Tasmanian government to draft the laws.
We view this legislation as a small piece of the puzzle.
Piecing together a future free of divisive symbols. MAKENNA, BAILY, 7 Tasmania News.
It was a busy night for police, with multiple people charged with high-range drink driving, including an East Launceston man who blew more than 5 times the legal limit. Meanwhile, a 23-year-old man crashed into the Bank of Queensland's Launceston branch early this morning. The unlicensed motorist lost control of his vehicle on George Street around 2:45, damaging the storefront. Both the driver and his female passenger escaped without injury. He's set to appear in court at a later date. Tasmania's COVID death toll continues to climb, with one more person losing their life to the virus overnight. 529 new infections were recorded. No one is in ICU, but 42 people remain in the state's hospitals with the virus. A Tasmanian couple caught up in the collapse of a local building company have described their horror when the business revealed it only had $1.50 to its name. The new homeowners have received no compensation as they plead for help from the state's consumer regulator.
Getting into their very own home was far from the great Australian dream for Joe Randall and Meg Dusky.
You don't think that someone that you've got a contract with is going to turn around and not do what, you've both agreed on.
Upon signing that contract with the building company back in 2018, all reports showed a clear history. But cracks started to appear a year later when construction finally got underway.
After about 12 months of it being slow but not horribly slow, everything just stopped and it just went to a standstill basically.
The couple were then plunged into a distressing fight with a half-finished house, which saw them confined in the state's building and consumer regulator.
I think I would have called up, half a dozen times after making a complaint, and I spoke to the same person every time, and every time it was basically just, we'll look at it soon, we currently don't have the resources to look at it.
They went on to seek legal advice and cancelled their contract.
They told us they only had $1.50 in their bank account. They were basically, in our eyes, trading as insolvent.
Urban Homes Tasmania entered liquidation in December of 2020. Joe and Meg are still out of pocket.
I would say 90 to 100,000.
The opposition say experiences like this reiterate the need for a parliamentary inquiry.
There is no protection for consumers in Tasmania unless they take out very expensive legal action, and most times If lucky, they'll get 20 cents in a dollar.
Documents obtained by 7 Tasmania News show the couple's correspondence with the state's Building and Consumer Regulator ran over 8 months, but they are yet to receive any real answers on their case or potential breaches of contract.
I would encourage them to continue to have that dialogue to see what we can do to help.
Public consultation around the home warranty insurance scheme ends tomorrow, but for property owners who've been forced to terminate their contracts, plans to pass legislation are underway to give the civil and administrative tribunal the ability to hear these matters. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
Wild weather in the state's north and northwest is wreaking havoc on homes and roads. Strong winds saw a St Leonard's family trampoline make its way into the next-door neighbour's yard, while a transportable unit was blown into the water at Haybridge near Burnie. 32 SES volunteers have been working since 2:30 this morning, responding to more than a dozen requests. Most call-outs have been due to properties being inundated with water. Some of the state's best junior riders have gathered near Hobart today for Tasmania's Pony Club State Championship. The sport, which has its origins in the royal family, sees competitors put their horsemanship skills to the test across a number of different challenges.
It's a starting point for those looking for a ride.
Are you ready?
Make no mistake, there's no horsing around in the world of Pony Club. The team-focused discipline is for riders aged between 6 and 25. Tasmania's best putting their skills to the test today in a sport fit for royalty.
It's originated originally from the Prince Philip, so there's 15 races that you play. The rider actually does 12.
It's good fun, especially when you're with your teammates as well.
In one race, competitors had to gather blocks and spell Pony Club correctly on the back of a mount. Getting back in the saddle, one of the skills tested.
Eye-hand coordination, balance, and ability to be able to read what the game is.
Some of them are a bit more in depth, pick up tennis balls, put them in bucket.
Bailey has represented the state at the National Championship. He says it's great to join forces with other riders.
There's not a lot of team sports with the equestrian side of things, sort of the way Pony Club bring us up.
Those involved in the sport say it teaches them a number of skills that can be applied to future careers on and off the track.
They can further on into the racing industry, they can further on into adult riding.
You're not just doing one game or it's the same thing all day. The fact that there's 15 games and it's adrenaline.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Nearly $1 million of state government funding will support four Tasmanian small businesses looking to grow. A Hobart gaming company is among those who will benefit from the incubator program. Secret Lab is looking to make one of its programs, called Yarn Spinner, more accessible to content creators.
It allows people who are non-technical to write scripts for games and turn those into really interactive, complex video games. And as part of this incubator grant, we'll be building a curriculum of training material.
Small Business Minister Madeleine Ogilvie says she's looking forward to each project being delivered over the next 2 years. Tasmania's best under-16 footballers have had their final hit out ahead of the Devils selection in a North versus South trial match at UTAS Stadium today. The final team will compete in the National Championships next month against New South Wales, Queensland and the Northern Territory. In today's game, the South narrowly won by 3 points. Ben McDermott has smashed his first half-century in England's T20 blast.
Wow, what a shot. What a shot. Access all part of the grounds if you're Ben McDermott and go to a quite brilliant 50.
The Hobart Hurricane finished with 60 from 35 balls and enjoyed his first win as part of the Hampshire Hawks after 4 losses. And in the NBL 1, Keely Frolling's 29 points weren't enough for Launceston as their playoff chances took a hit. After leading at half-time, the Tornadoes were blown off the court by Casey.
Goes inside, kicks back out to Gillum. Now Bell, three-pointer from the 45 is good by Rachel Bell.
The visitors eventually winning 85-71. In the men's, Casey bounced back from their heartbreaker in Hobart to thump the Thunder 102-71. And in the Tasmanian Netball League, the Northern Hawks were too strong for Arrows today, defeating them 73 goals to 44. After a tight first quarter, the Hawks pulled away in the second and third to record a comfortable win. They also remain undefeated after 14 rounds. Meanwhile, a 40-18 goal first half helped the Cavaliers defeat Corona 73-34. The Flames were no match for the Cavs, who remained second on the table. And the Kookaburras have made it 4 from 4 in the Trans-Tasman Hockey Series.
Good evening. 14 was the state's top today in Hobart, Devonport 13, 12 in Burnie Launceston reaching 11, 12 across King Island and Strawn, Ouse and Smithton 13 and 10 in Cressy. On the close-up shows cloud over most of Tasmania and surrounding waters. Further out, a band of high-level cloud extends into WA and another across northern Australia to the east coast. Tomorrow shows the low and front to the east and southeast of Tasmania with the troughs to the west. Northwest to southwesterly winds tomorrow, 25 to 35 knots, swells up to 5 metres in the west and south and reaching 2 metres in the north. A gale warning is current for the west coast, central North Bank Strait, Franklin Sound, Flinders Island and the lower east coast. A strong wind warning for Frederick Henry Bay, Norfolk Bay, Storm Bay Channel, the east coast and southwest coast. A minor flood warning for the North Esk River and South Esk River. A warning to sheep graziers across the northwest coast, central north, northeast and Midlands forecast districts, and a bushwalkers weather alert for the western and central plateau forecast districts. Tomorrow's forecast now, showers across Hobart and Dover, 9 in Ouse. In the north, Launceston and Devonport, a shower or two, Scottsdale, showers clearing. 11 in Burnie tomorrow, showers and possible heavy falls in Strawn, Stanley 12. St Helens and Swansea 13 and a shower or two in Ross. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast now, Tuesday, showers and small hail about the west, south and central areas, fine elsewhere. Wednesday, showers about the west, south and central areas with a small amount of hail during the morning. And Thursday, showers more frequent about the west, south and central areas. Capital cities, partly cloudy and 19 in Perth tomorrow. Melbourne, a shower or two and 17 in Sydney. And currently Hobart 9 and mostly cloudy, Launceston 9 and Devonport 11 and cloudy. That's all in weather tonight, Lou.
Wonderful, thanks for that, Jackie. And that's all your news for this Sunday evening. Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your night. Good night.